What's going on, everybody? Muhammad here, Right So Father's going to talk to you guys about how to win child custody case. So you're going through it, and you want to know how to win child custody case. I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do. So a couple of things you need to know. You need to understand public versus private, and you also need to understand jurisdiction. So it depends on where you're at in the process. It's probably best, hopefully you see this video before you either initiate a proceeding, or if you are defending yourself in a proceeding. So the very first thing I'll say is, with regards to public versus private, you need to understand that you are private, and so is your child. Your child is also your private property. And so anytime when you are dealing with a court situation, even though the family court is under a private jurisdiction, what they're going to do is they're going to try and convert it into a public. So and they do that in so many ways. So first of all, you got to understand, as a father, the deck of cards is against you. So every little mistake or maneuver that you do can be detrimental if you don't really know what you're doing. So the way that they convert you into the public, what they do is, they first of all, they assume when you step into the court that you're a public official. Of course, that's insane. Unless you work for the government, you're a private individual. But the moment you step in the court, you're automatically in dishonor. There's in my previous video, I talked about how the law itself derives everything that they know from universal law principles, and more specifically biblical principles. So if you study the history of law, you'll know that they pretty much got everything from, a lot of it from the Bible, going back to like English traditions. So there's one principle that you need to understand, is Matthew 5:25. I'm gonna put a quotation mark in the description so you can read about it. But in a nutshell, what it is the reason why the moment you go into court you're in dishonor is because the courts are really not there to solve all your problems. They're not there to solve your love affairs and your marital problems, your whatever drama that you have with your baby mama. That's not their job. So when you step into court, they're automatically viewing you as a heathen, somebody that can't handle their own affairs, right? And you want to come into court and ask them to solve all of your life problems. So one second, guys. Right. So like I was saying, so when you step into court, asking them to solve your problems, and you haven't done your due diligence in terms of trying to solve the problem yourself, you're automatically in dishonor. So that's where the doctrine of administrative process comes in. You want to try and that's again, when I was referencing Matthew 5:25, you want to try and make peace with your adversary first. And what that means is you want to try and resolve the issue, right? So there's so many ways to go about it, but in a nutshell, you want to send some sort of documentation to the opposing party to let them know what your terms are and how you can come to an agreement. And you want to make this attempt, at least 3 times. You want to send it, via certified mail, return receipt. Get a notary to send it for you. And when you can't come to an agreement, then you can invoke the court to be of assistance in this matter. So, one second, guys. Sorry, there was like a big loud semi that was passing by. So another thing you don't want to do is you don't want to fill out any court forms. The second that you fill out any court forms, you're giving up jurisdiction. So everything you want to do, you want to try and invoke common law, or it doesn't have to be specifically common law, but you want to stick in the private jurisdiction. So when you fill out any of their court forms, you're giving up your jurisdiction, right? You're giving them jurisdiction, right? So you go to court. You try to make peace with your adversary, but of course, if they fall into dishonor, then now you have some grounds to invoke the court to help you without giving up your jurisdiction. And at the same time, you also do not want to fill out any court forms, like I said, no matter what, how they make it appear. Because if you're not an attorney, those forms are really for public officials. So when you fill out those forms, they're going to assume that you're a public official. So then they're going to treat you as pro se. And you don't want to be pro se, because pro se means that they're going to hold you to the standards of an attorney. And of course, if you're not an attorney, you're not going to know all the procedures. You're not going to know all the nuanced things that that fall into the legal proceeding. And they're gonna just beat you just from sheer technicality. They're gonna be like, oh, you forgot to put a period here, case dismissed. So trust me, if you're not an attorney, you do not want to try and go that route. You want to just stick in your domain, which is in propria persona. And the third thing that I'll say is, do not hire an attorney, because the second you sign with an attorney, what they're going to do is they're going to file a notice of appearance, and yep, that's it. You gave up jurisdiction, right? Because now you got converted into a public figure. So now you're going to be bound by all the rules and procedures, and now you're going to be forced to play that game. And trust me, that's not the game you want to play, because that's where all the decks are against you. And not to mention the financial implications. So as long as you stick to those 3 principles, which is, sticking to your domain, the private domain, you got to be mindful of jurisdiction, so not filling out any court forms. And then also, you do not want to, you don't want to retain an attorney. I know that sounds insane, right? But I'm telling you, I've dealt with family courts since 2012, so that's 10 years, And I had to have learned something, right? I mean, when I say I'm dealing with them, I meant consistently, every single month since 2012. It's not once in a while kind of thing. I'm talking about every month type deal, man. So trust me, I've learned something. If I hadn't learned, I wouldn't be here, preaching on YouTube, exposing myself. So I've learned something, that's the reason why I created this channel, is to help fathers, because I know that all the cards are stacked against you. I'm telling you that. All right. I'm trying to think if there's anything important that I've missed. I think those are the most important thing we want, because when you stick in your private domain, now they're going to be compelled. You're not going to give them anything. They're not going to have any reason to violate your rights. What happens is, the moment that you use any of those forms, or you Oh, the fourth principle is also you don't want to cite any laws. So don't cite any statutes. The second you cite any statutes, it's over. Now you're giving them something to work with. Now they're going to go find loopholes. They got a million case laws, that have been amended, and they're going to find some kind of loophole to rule against you. So don't cite any laws. Just if you're a Christian, you can cite biblical laws, canon laws. If you're a Muslim, you can cite Quranic verses, but do not cite any public statutes. I'm telling you, do not cite any federal laws. Anybody that's telling you to do that, you're just gonna lose, because you're just gonna give them a rope, that they're gonna use against you. So yeah, guys, just stick to those four things, and if I think of anything good, I'll make another video and add to it. But I think those four things are pretty major. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, share, so it reaches all the fathers that need help. And if you guys need anything for me to talk about, just drop it in the comment, and I'll make sure I address it. Okay. All right, fathers, until next time.